Oh, hello. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning from beautiful Seattle. It's a little, mm, it's a little gray here today, but I hope that anywhere in Chicago it's very sunny, and I hope that somewhere the rainbow is coming out because let me tell you, we are moving forward with everybody. We're moving right in opening salons. So many states are opening the salons, which is great, and some of them are not yet, but it's coming. So it's just a little bit more and hang in there. Hi, Kimberly. How are you? So good to see you. So good to see everybody. It's been like, I think it's been like, I don't know, Wednesday through Friday seems like weeks gone by. I don't know about you guys, but this week has had a little magic in the air. Did you guys feel the same way? Because it's been feeling pretty awesome here. I feel like a lot of excitement, but I also feel a lot of questions are coming up to the air. Hey, Bill, how's it going? Hello from Michigan. Hi, how is it in Michigan? Is it good weather? Give me my thumbs up. So we got a great show today. I'm really excited about today, and I'll tell you in a couple minutes why I'm excited about today. But I also want to just say hello to everybody who's just coming in. So we're going to wait a little bit more, and we're going to discuss a few questions as you guys are coming in. So again, good morning. It's Huddle time with Ronit in Seattle. We are here through all these weeks together that we've been together, measuring our 1 till 10. 1 till 10. 1, we've been not feeling so great, and where are we now? 10 being awesome, and 9 is good, 7 is good, 8 is good. You choose, you tell me, how are you guys doing today from 1 till 10? And give me a big high five to know if you hear me well, if the sound is good, if the something is not so good, we'll fix it. My buddy here, Bill, who still has not really came to show his face yet, he will be someday. I'm telling you, I promise. This is not a ghost. But my name is Ronit, and I'm the founder of Salon Cadence Academy, training and coaching company that we help really high achievers like you and the beauty professional become very profitable and successful. So you can achieve the life that you want. So you can achieve the goals that you have for yourself. So you can have a legacy. So you can be happier and do the things that you really love, right? Now, we've owned 3 successful companies and coached and trained since I think I was 18 years old. And I've been a performance and mindset coach that focuses on profit and confidence. Yeah. So it is my passion, extremely passion, to see owners transform their businesses and that way they can transform their life. To live the life that they really want. So that's my passion. And we started this show because we all needed inspiration and motivation. So you will be 10 today, and it is sunny, Bill. I'm so excited to hear that. You know, the sun makes it all what it is, right? Doesn't it? So going through all of this, we have a great show with you today. And we have a lot of great guests that are coming up with the next few weeks. So tune in. May is going to be the same Wednesday and Friday, 11 o'clock in the morning, every Wednesday and Friday. And we have some great guests coming up. But starting June, we're going to Mondays. And we're going to be Monday evening, and we're going to do Monday Huddle morning. So we're going to be 2 times on Mondays starting June. So until then, we have some great guests. This Friday, we have Jay Williams, who is an author, is a leadership coach, is a motivational speaker. He is a super incredible guy that has so much insight on leading and within terms of, high spirit and high inspiration. But not only inspiration, the things that you really need to do to be in the action zone to become successful as a thought leader, as a leader in the community, a leader in your business, a leader in your career. And I love to have him. I can't wait to be him. He's going to be right here in a few days, Friday. We also have Vivian Mackinder. We have the beautiful, brilliant Zoe. She is the podcaster, a digital director, content for Forest Software. And I can't wait to share what she has to tell us about how to build successful podcasts and why you should think about building one in your business. So we're going to have a lot of great people. We're going to have Sana Brado, who's beautiful. She's a director of education for KMS, and Sherry P, who is also an extraordinary educator and a beautiful artist. So I can't wait for what's coming up. But we have a very special guest also on June. So tune in and stay in. There's one thing I want to discuss with you before we go into Jenna today. I get this question so many times, and this is really important, that I want to tell you what are my opinion about it. And again, it is my opinion. You don't have to do anything. But I get asked these questions very often. Should I raise my prices, or should I not raise my prices going back into work? Should I add COVID-19 surcharge or whatnot? Well, there's a couple of opinions. Obviously, there's always two opinions. There is the no, and then there is the yes. And whatever is the middle never sticks, right? So what is it that you think we should do? And it's a tough decision, because in our industry, for whatever reason, we always discount our services. We always discounts our worth. We always discounts our value. So what I would like to offer you is a really good way to look at it. And yes, my belief, in my opinion, you absolutely should raise your prices, not only to reflect the challenges that we have with COVID-19, but to reflect your value. What are you worth? And there is a very simple formula to do it. What you want to do is you want to really kind of like look at what are your total expenses? What are your total expenses, including all the new occurred expenses that you have due to the new norm, due to the new luxury, because you're applying and you're giving luxury service. And I can see myself talking really slow, so I want to make sure that you can hear me very well. Hi, Kathy, how are you? Can you hear me? Because I can see there is a little delay in the video. What do you think? Okay, so what I want to offer to you is a really good thinking about it. We're going back. Where are you starting? We're going back. You're going back and you're starting profitably or not profitable. When was the last time you did an assessment of how profitable you are in your time? So the very most important thing, are you profitable? Are you profitable? Now, how do you find out if you're profitable? You take all your expenses and you divide it by how many hours that you are working or you are busy with your booking hours. So let's do it. Let's assume that when you're going to go back, you're going to be pretty much busy 85% of the time, right? Because the other 15% of the time, you're going to be doing sanitation and saying hello and booking and whatever it takes to be in between the time. Take all these expenses and divide them by the hours that you're going to be offering. These are your expenses by the hour. And there's nothing make it much easier to measure things easy. So divide it by the hours that you're going to be busy. Then take your income that you had before this whole thing happened and divide that by these hours. And then look to see how profitable you are. If your hourly charges are lower than your hourly expenses, then you're not profitable. My suggestion is to look at who you are and add your expenses of COVID-19, and then add to it somewhere between 20% to 30% higher than where you are. Okay? And that is my suggestion to you. If you have any more questions about pricing, if you have any more doubt about it, go to my website. I have created a free education webinar about pricing, about profitability, how to assess yourself, how to see how profit you are today and what you need to do in order to be even more profitable when you go back. So it will be like Christmas, as Jenna saying. All right, so this is my gift for you today. I hope this helps a little bit. Any news from government when salons are open in Chicago? Yvonne, not yet, but it's coming up. It's coming up. I know every day is a new word. Every Monday, the government is coming and gives us more reveal. So stay tuned. We don't have that information in yet, but it's coming. I can guarantee that, right? It will be there, so hang tight. If you have any other questions, Yvonne, please reach out to me. If there's anything we can help in anything, please reach out to me privately too, please, because I would love to help, okay? So without further ado, that word further ado, I'm not crazy about it. It just drives me crazy, so I don't know why I even said that. But I do want to bring in somebody very dear to me. About, I don't know, 3 months ago through Facebook. And this is how I met them. I share with you this video, and I hope it's going to be a good transforming over there and you can see it. If not, I'll get it off and bring the real person on. But I want to share something about Jenna. She caught my attention because of her personality, and you're going to find out exactly why. But she is a very successful salon owner, and her story is so authentic and it's so organic, and I can't wait to share this with you. But more than anything, she introduced to me because I was talking about the profit first. And you know that this is the methodology that we believe in about being very successful financially in anything you do in life. So the profit first was one of the books that she read, and that completely changed her business, completely transformed. And the reason why one of the reasons she was able to thrive in the closing time is because of the profit first. So I had to interview her because right now we are writing the book for the salon and spa owners. And she's going to be one of our spokespeople. So I'm really excited. This is how we met her. But here is why she made it even more fun. Tune in.
Hey girl, I just want to call and let you know the salon's been shut down due to COVID-19.
So I should definitely cut my hair, right?
No, don't do that.
Okay, but like definitely color it myself, right?
Especially don't do that.
Okay, but like a perm, I should definitely do a perm, right?
No!
Can you come to my house?
I love it. I love it. I love it. That was like the first week, Jenna, right? So welcome, Jenna, to Huddle Time with Ronit. How are you today?
I'm so great. I'm so honored and excited to be here with you.
Oh my God, I am honored that you're here to me because look at your red hair. You're with me. Look at red hair power women.
Yes. I love it.
So how you doing, Jenna? I love that video. What inspired you to create that video? Because I think that was your first week coming in.
Yeah, I think quarantine does crazy things to you when you're alone in your house, just being at the salon. And I guess I just one day, there, nothing to do, missing working, I thought I would have a little bit of fun with it.
Oh my God, that was so funny. When I was watching it, I was just dying. So tell us a little bit about you. Now, you own a salon in Colorado.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I own a sound salon and extension studio. I've owned it for about 2.5 years, and this month actually I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary of being licensed and being a part of this beautiful industry. So
wow,
I'm so excited.
And your birthday was your birthday last week for celebrating. What are you, 22?
28. So I actually did beauty school in high school through an area vocational program. So when I was 18, I got right into it. And so here I am 10 years later, celebrating 10 years of being in this beauty industry.
It is a beautiful industry. I really think that this past, I would say, few weeks, it made us even fall in love more in a better way with our industry. I've owned a salon for 17 years, actually, a couple of them, and And when I turn into training and coaching, which I've done all my life, I've always considered myself as a mentor. And I could never give up hair. So I kept, and I still am for 10 or 16 clients. So I can keep going and keep going. And I will never let my hands go. But there were times where I thought during this time that maybe it's time to just move on and just be 100% teaching and training. But since we had so much education going through this time, I got so inspired. And having the show, Huddle Time with Ronit, I got even more inspired because I got reconnected to my roots, reconnected to who I am. And so you shared that with me as well, that you had different visions.
Yes.
And you always do, but you got back into it even more so. So is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I thought that my goal would eventually be to retire from behind the chair and focus on the business. And that absolutely still is a goal. But I maybe I'll transition completely out. But I have to tell you, being forced to not do hair for 6 weeks made me realize how much I still love actually working one-on-one with guests. And I agree with you. I think it keeps you sharp. I think it keeps you a part of the industry so you can stay better connected for your coaching. Or, if I'm going to be leading a team and still leading a salon, I think it's important that on some level you're still working in day with guests and staying on top of your education and staying sharp in that way to be there.
Yeah, I agree with that. You kind of have to. Ooh, mute. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, sorry. Do you want me to repeat that?
Yeah, say one more time.
Yeah, no worries. I used to believe that I eventually wanted to completely retire from behind the chair so I could focus on working on the business. And to some degree, that is still a part of my goal. But after not being able to work with guests one-on-one for 6 weeks, it made me realize how much I just love that part of our industry. And so I believe that on some level, I'll be doing hair, even if it's just one day a week, or like how you do it occasionally, to stay sharp so that you can still be on top of the trends, you can still lead your team effectively, you can still be relevant.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, being a hairdresser and being always involved in serving and creating happiness is always keep you in mind where you can get left branded if you're always going into the teaching mode. I think it just happened to me so many times. So this or some sort of art have to happen, right? Now, what got you started in the industry? And Kathy, by the way, Kathy just said a great update. She said that we have opened our salon in Arizona, but still waiting on Michigan to open up to service clients there. Wow, this is so great, Kathy. How is it going? Let us know your number one question or lesson that you had. And Jenna will tell us because she's been open for 3 weeks now. But I'd love to know, I'd love for you to share with us, how did you start this business? Now, before you say that, I just want to let everybody know. Jenna has gone through so many shifts and pivots that I can't wait to share with you her journey. So how did you start this journey?
Oh my gosh. I have had so many roadblocks in my journey. It's almost like I've been tested at every step of the way to make sure, do you really want it? Do you really want to do this? And it all started, my very first roadblock was even getting into beauty school. Like I mentioned before, I did beauty school in high school through an area vocational program, but I almost didn't get in. I had applied for the program. As soon as I heard about it, I felt like when I discovered I wanted to be a hairstylist, it was like the clouds open and the angels sing. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is my perfect opportunity to be, I feel like hairstylists are like rock stars. And at the time, all those amazing shows were on. Sheer Genius, Split Ends, Tabitha's Salon Takeover, I TiVoed every single one of them. And I just became obsessed with the industry at 16 years old. And so I knew right away, this is what I want to do. So I applied for the program. I was told that I got in. And then about a week later, I was called into the office, my guidance counselor's office, and they sat me down and said, actually, we don't have as many spots open as we thought that we did. And so you're now on a wait list. And I started bawling because I told them, you don't understand. I've already planned my whole life out. I'm going to be a hairstylist. And they said, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. We just don't have as many spaces open.
Unbelievable.
So I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I never fasted before in my life until that moment. And I said, I'm not going to eat, and I'm just pray, because if I get into beauty school, like, it will be a sign that I'm meant to be there and meant to be in this industry, and I will get in. And so I did eat at night, just so you know, but on the very last day of school that year, someone dropped out and I got their spot. So all that summer, I got to look forward to starting beauty school the next year. And I'm glad looking back that happened to me, because beauty school was awful for me.
Why was it awful, Jenna?
It was awful because, in an area vocational program, what ends up happening a lot of the time is that people sign up for them to get out of normal high school classes, and not always necessarily because they are excited about the program and what they're learning. I felt, that the program was very underfunded. And looking back, I see that there were about 40 of us students with one teacher. And that was such a huge, it's so hard. I can't even imagine being in that position, teaching 40 high school girls, every single, who don't want to be there usually, day in and day out, and trying to manage all of that. So for me, a lot of it was just, you're in this room for, 4 hours a day, working on mannequins, studying a book. And it was kind of a very negative environment. A lot of people just didn't want to be there, and it was really, really rough. So, and then my next roadblock was failing my state board exam.
Is that crazy? When we were talking about it, yeah.
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, we're getting a little glitchy. I'm sorry about that, but that's okay. I mean, we got you got your point on that crossover, and it's sad that often schools are not delivering what we really do need, and it would be nice if they did deliver a bit more inspiration. But at least, I think that it's important that you recognize that, and then you get your license, and then you can get even more inspired afterwards. But for you to get tested, you said to me that you got tested a couple times, that you didn't pass through the first one. Oh my God, that must have been a heartbreaking for you.
It was. I failed not once, not twice, but 3 times my state board exam, my practical. And that was very hard for me because I wasn't used to failing. I graduated with honors from high school. I was AVP of the year. I've always been kind of a higher achiever. So to fail my state board 3 times in a row made me question everything. Like, should I even be in this industry? And, a lot of it really, looking back, was just, I was trying to be a perfectionist. I was spending too much time on things and I ran over. And not to mention too, part of going back to my experience in AVP, the teacher just didn't have a lot of time to devote to us one-on-one to help us with studying for our exam. And so when I would, go, they'd walk around and I'd say, hey, did I do this right? They'd be like, yeah, you did that right. Like, you didn't look. So I'm not blaming them at all, but definitely that was heartbreaking for me, just to feel like such a failure. Like, I made it 2 years of beauty school and I can't even pass my board to get my license. It was very defeating.
Yeah, and I understand, when we are high achiever and we are some sort of a perfectionist, and I think you kind of, I don't know what it is. I think it's in the DNA. We just want something so bad, and it doesn't happen, and we just feel like it's us, and maybe it's just a good lesson for us that things don't come as easy. But then you moved on, passed
Mm-hmm.
on the third one, and then you went and started working for another salon or a new salon for yourself. How was that?
So I knew that beauty school did not teach me everything, no. So I sought out an apprenticeship at a very beautiful salon here in town. And I went in there and I was there for about a month and I was struggling. It was definitely more of an apprenticeship where you're tearing a lot of foils and shampooing and sweeping, but not doing a lot more other than that. And I ended up getting fired from that apprenticeship after about a month. So that was roadblock number 3 for me of just, okay, I got into the program. I failed my state board so many times, and now I'm getting fired from my first salon job. So I just, it's funny. I look back and I'm like, wow, that's a lot of defeat for an 18-year-old to have to go through so young.
Yeah, but it's I think it's really great to actually go through things like that, don't you think? It just makes your personality even become more diverse.
Yeah.
Maybe even develop your compassion, your patience. Uh, but yet, a lot of people would give up by now, and a lot of people do. To start this, it's very difficult. So I can't wait to see where you landed. So tell us how you got to open yours. Did you open right afterwards, or what happened then? And you're very young. I mean, we're talking about young.
Yes. So I worked for a commission salon for about 8 months after that. I through that experience. And then I started booth renting, and the booth renting is really where I kind of came into my own of just realizing that, you know, when you do your own business, doing hair is one thing. The business side is something completely different. And I had to learn so much about business through booth renting that it really helped prepare me for eventually opening my own salon. And I made the decision to open my own salon when I had kind of reached max capacity of what I could do on my own. I 5 years ago, I learned hair extensions and it completely changed my life. So about halfway through my career, I wasn't bored with doing cuts and colors necessarily, but I was just looking for my what's next, like what's the next phase of my career here. And so I found hair extensions, and that completely changed my life. So I began to specialize in them. And then once I reached the ceiling of what I could do on my own, working out of a salon suite, I decided, hey, it's time to teach other people what I know and grow this hair extension business, because in Colorado Springs where I live, hair extensions are kind of underserved. A lot of people don't know where to go. They don't know about hair extensions. And I find if you don't live in a bigger city, that's true for so many places in America. People they aren't even aware of them.
Yeah,
And
no,
it's such an amazing way to serve your town.
absolutely. And I think, and I've been looking into your website, and anybody here, I just want you to go to crown.com, crown.salon, Jenna, and look at her website. Now, I know that Jenna has put a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of thinking about that, but it is really very specific about who you are and why you're going and why you're doing what you're doing. So, talking to that, you chose extension to be part of your um, uh, part of who you are, or part of what you want to offer. Do you do only extensions? I'm sure you're doing a lot of color with that, but are you
Yes.
specializing? Is that why did you choose that?
So when I discovered hair extensions about 5 years ago, I went and I signed up for a class. I think the buy-in was $600 for the ticket for a 2-day class. And that included your kit, your starter kit. And I thought to myself, well, I don't know if I really want to learn hair extensions. You know, I live in Colorado Springs and people are very into athleisure and they're a little more casual here. So maybe, you know, I don't know if anybody would actually want them. But I thought if I could just get one client for hair extensions, it'll pay for the class and at least I'll have it in my back pocket. So I went into it with that attitude of being a little bit ambivalent. And then when I got to the class, I started doing them. I became addicted right away. I was obsessed with how you could make someone's hair longer. And what I love most about hair extensions is if you have someone who sits down in their chair and they have really fine breakable hair, it stops growing about here. That's so many people have that. And they just want that longer hair. And maybe they don't even want super long. They just want it to hear. They just want it to look full. Before hair extensions, I just have to be like, sorry, I guess we just have to keep it short. We just have to keep it short and keep cutting it and trimming it all the time so it looks healthy. And when I found hair extensions, I thought, you can have whatever hair you want. Like, tell me what you want and you can have it. And that's so freeing and that's so exciting. And, you know, you can give someone the hair they've always wanted but could never have before. And I've heard from so many people just how empowering that can be. So I love especially helping women who have hair loss or could just never have the hair they've always wanted to have, but now they can.
Wow, that's incredible. You know, and from what I'm learning from you is that it was a solution. You were giving a
Yes.
solution, but before that, you were intentionally thinking about the risk. What is the investment amount that I have? So if it's a $5,000 investment, what will it take me to pay it back? And so your thinking was strategically thinking. It was more about and how profitable I can be in this service. Because you can and many of us, and Kathy, I love your comment and thank you for sharing this very long comment. Jen, I know you cannot see the comment, so I'm going to give you a short version. It's a long comment and I love it. It's a lot to do with how you spend your time. You have to choose what services you want to do. I know that we all love doing beautiful colors and rainbow colors and bleach the heck out of brunette to blondes and the whole process and everything. And we always think, oh, there's a lot of money here coming up. But in reality, a lot of our services are not profitable. They're not within the thought. They're not within the design of profitable. But you were thinking differently. You've always had this in the back of your mind, right? The happiness, delivering happiness, making somebody feel amazing. And then there's you who's thinking about, is it going to be profitable? Do I want to get myself into it? But you chose extensions.
Absolutely. So, and when you were talking before you brought me on about prices and price increases, during quarantine, myself and my salon manager, we talked over Skype and we created a spreadsheet of all of our services. We figured, what is the cost of doing this service? How many minutes does it take? And we audited everything and realized, you know, hair extensions, you, of course, you make more money doing hair extensions. Everybody knows that it is a luxury service and it's a less saturated market and you have to be highly trained and specialized to do them so you can charge more. But in doing this price auditing, I realized, wow, my color prices aren't keeping up with this. Wow, hair cutting prices aren't keeping up with this. And so some of my prices did have to be shifted a little bit in just realizing like, wow, it doesn't make sense to be making $3 a minute on this service over here and making 1.5, literally half on this other service. So I encourage people to do that too. Just really audit your services and think about how much time does this take? How much money does it cost to perform this service? and really think about it that way. And that will give you a lot of clarity. And you also have to think, what service could I do every day, all day, and never get sick of it? Because I just love it so much. And for me, that is 100% extensions.
Oh, I love it. So if you do something that you love day in and day out, and would you agree, Jenna, that you don't really know whether you're gonna love something until you actually got into it and
Yep.
develop some sort of confidence and then make the decision, oh wow, there's something about it I want to continue.
Absolutely. I think, competence breeds confidence. And so if you are trying something out for the first time, you're not going to be great at it. In fact, just today on our Instagram page, I posted my first extension transformation from 5 years ago. And I was looking at it like, oh my gosh, I didn't even brush out the curls. And so, but it's so cool to look back at where you've come from. And maybe you aren't going to love something immediately because you don't feel like you're confident in it yet. So just keep trying it. You don't know. I didn't think I would love hair extensions as much as I've become obsessed with it in the last 5 years. 5 years ago, when I got a pamphlet in the mail for that mastery extension course coming up, I thought, well, I'm kind of bored. I just want to learn something new. I had no idea it would bring me to where I am today and specializing in it.
Yeah, and it's nice that you're sharing it. I love what you said. Competence bring confidence.
Yes.
Confidence bring competence, right?
Yes.
So it's really important. We need to learn how to become better, right? So we need to learn. And Kathy, I'm going to answer your question, your big comment, and thank you for sharing that right now. But one of the answers are that you have to always invest in getting better. Both Jenna and I, we are obsessed, and remember, she said obsessed. We're both obsessed of hiring more mentorship, more coaching, more education, in whatever it takes us to get better as we grow older. Now she is 28, and I'm a little bit older, just a tiny little bit. Even though I look the same as you, right? Look at the skin, look at the hair, look at the red.
Yes.
Yeah, but that is very important. And the more we invest, Kathy, the more we invest in our health, in our happiness, the more successful we will be. Because Kathy said she went back to work and the herd came, right? It's the herd coming right through the doors. And she's been working 12 hours day, 12 hours day. And she's exhausted, she's tired. She definitely doubled her prices. And I just want to share with you, I've spoken with all of our Salon Cadence members. We've spoken from many salons. People are more appreciative and they're more thankful for giving you what you're worth, the value that you're giving. They're paying for your time, your talent, and your essential services to keep you. They appreciate, they just want to give. This is your opportunity, as Jenna said, brilliant Jenna said, to audit your services in the profitability sector, right, Jenna? Well, she's working long days. So what happens, Jenna, going back? How can you control your day? How can you say, I am not working more than 8 hours a day, and I'm not working more than 6 hours a day? Or do you not? What do you do? How did you do it going back?
So going back, I think one benefit of being 28 years old is you have more energy and your body can handle working more hours. So when I went back, I thought to myself, I've been staying home for 6 weeks. And yes, my body needs rest and it needs a break, but I made sure I can't double book, first of all, and I used to. So taking that out allowed me to have more breaks throughout the day. So that helped. And it allowed more one-on-one focused time with my guests. And my guests do energize me. I am an extrovert, so being around them gave me energy. But I did, going back, I worked seven days until I gave myself a day off. And then I worked, 2 more days than I normally do, and then one more day. And now 3 weeks later, I just finished my full 3-day weekend like I normally take. So I normally work 4 days a week. So I just finished. I'm back to my normal schedule. So yes, part of it is setting boundaries and realizing too, like if I make an exception, I squeeze this one person in who wants to get in earlier. That's not really fair to the other people that, have been waiting for a really long time. So I know that there's so many strategies of how to reschedule people when you go back to work. The strategy I chose was looking at who are my high risk clients, and those are people who had a hair extensions in that had gone way past when they were supposed to be getting them redone. So for me, I focused on those people first. I scheduled them first, going back, and then I filled in everything else from there. And I went, okay, now here are the people who have their roots, and their roots really need to be done. And then haircuts kind of fit in perfectly in those gaps too. But yeah, hair extensions for sure. I just looked back at who was supposed to come in first, make sure those people are taken care of absolutely first. And that was my strategy for going back. And it worked incredibly well. And I just have to say, I had no idea what I was coming back to. I didn't know if people would be freaked out and think, oh, a recession is coming, I'm going to take my hair extensions out. But oh my gosh, Ronit, we had 20 consultations for hair extensions in the first 3 weeks, and 83% of those people converted to booking an appointment for their hair extension.
What a success, Jenna. What a success. So what do you, I know Kathleen was asking, how did Jenna build the extension clientele? So hold on, Jenna. Don't answer that yet. Kathleen, Jenna, what do you think if we have another conversation about how to build an successful extension business? Yeah. Okay. Kathleen, do you like it? Does anybody like it here? Just comment, because I think that there's two styles, successful, profitable extension businesses or hair loss business. There's the hair loss, okay? And there's the cosmetic part of it. And then there's the third component of it, of diagnosing why there is a hair loss. So it's 1, 2, and 3. And I would love to combine it. So if you guys are interested of doing a specific hair loss session, I'd love to do it. Just comment in here, because there, I'm telling you right now, if you would think within dollars, within profitability, but more than anything, if you think about how much you can serve your clients, because 1 out of 3 people in America or in the world are suffering from lack of happiness, lack of confidence, because the hair loss situation. Okay, so thanks, Jenna. We're going to build one just for you guys, because I know this is such a big, I know all Salon Cadence members would love to have that. So I know we can do something great. But I want to ask you, and I just love everything about you. I love how organic and how authentic you are, and how smart and how brilliant you are with the approach of profitability. But it's not always have been easy walk on the park. You had a couple of what we call it in the industry, and I don't like that word at all, a walkouts on your salon, a walkout. And please, people, can we change that word, walkout? I just want to share with you. Do you think Google employees that just have been laid off or left Google have ever said the word walkout? No, people just leave because they need to, right? And tell me about that. Why? What's going on? What was going on in your mind? Because that's a hurtful. That is hard.
Yes, I love when you told me that the first time. That I've been thinking about that constantly, and that has really changed my mind. Is like, big companies don't call it a walkout at all, and yet we as salons do that. And I feel like there's a lot of blame put on salon owners. And absolutely, when you do lose a bunch of staff at once, you do have to take a step back and think about, what part did I play in this? How could I have done this better? and really solicit that feedback. But it can be so lonely and sad. And I've had to get therapy. And I'll just be honest, like, don't be afraid to get therapy if you need it. But I've had to get therapy over this stuff because having people leave your business, especially more than one at a time, it does hurt your ego because I don't know about all of you watching this, but my salon, I feel, is a reflection of me. I think most salon owners out there, you've picked every single piece of decoration in your salon. You've developed all the policies. It is so much a part of who you are. It's like your baby. And so for people to leave, it does feel like they are personally rejecting you a lot of the time. And so I had to work through that in therapy. So I've experienced it twice, and, it's a long story for both of them. But the first time it was due to, I think, a mistake a lot of new salon owners make, which is overhiring. So I way overhired in the beginning, and I didn't do my due diligence in hiring. I did one interview. I didn't test any technical skills. I didn't call references. I didn't do all the stuff that I've learned now you should do as a part of hiring safely and effectively, especially to hire, 5 people at once in a 6-chair salon. I thought, I have a 6-chair salon now. I need to hire 6 people. And I realize now, like, who said that? Like, just hire carefully and strategically and build each one. Another mistake someone told me that they said, always be hiring, and I didn't listen to them because I thought, I have a great team and it's perfect. You should always be looking for new talent constantly so that you can replace when people do inevitably leave you, because that's the next phase of their career and that's what they need to do. So there's nothing wrong with always being hiring. And then the second time that I lost a lot of people, it was partially due to they needed to move on. They wanted to move to the next phase of their career. It happened to be all at once, which was unfortunate. But it was also aggravated by me implementing change in my business too quickly. So these were changes I had to make. These were necessary changes. But looking back, I should have been more careful about how I communicated those changes. And I should have rolled them out more strategically instead of just out of panic.
You know what?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I totally agree with that. And there's a couple of things that you said that I think that are brilliant, and I would love to even speak to them a little bit more. The one thing that you said is like when you decorate your salon, you pick up the things that resonate with you. It's what you love. You need to do the same thing with your team. But the one thing I want to say, I hear you saying I should have, but unless you actually been there, you wouldn't really know that is the most valuable lessons. Do you think that if you went to Harvard and spent $250,000 tuition for 4 years, you would have known that? No. Okay, guys, so this is the best school right here. This is the best school. This is the best lesson that you can hear of, because yes, it's very important. It's important to really say to yourself, and go look at Jenna's website. She knows who is our ideal client. She knows who she wants to work with. Now that didn't take her for a long time, and she's also established a lot of thinking on her lessons. Thinking about it, 2 years before I moved on from my business to the teaching and training company, I was going to sell my business, and I had 2 amazing buyers. But my team, 3 key essential people in my team, have left the company. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because they didn't love me, because they did. And it wasn't because I didn't love them, because I did. I can't tell you how much I love my team. But they were ready to do something different and move on. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in order for you to really develop a very good culture, a very good team, first of all, you need to know, what do you want for culture? Mm-hmm. Who you are. And who is going to be with you? The couple things that I always think of is, if you're going to be stuck with your employee or your staff member in a ride for 2 hours, in a cab ride or an Uber ride, who would you want to be stuck with? 2 hours to talk to somebody, right? I think that's very important, especially if you're going to spend 8 hours in the salon with them. So think like that, right? So your ideal recruit, you know it now, but you wouldn't know it then, right?
Right. And I've learned to what I want for my business and the standards that I have. And I do have high standards, and they've only gotten higher since owning my business. And instead of apologizing for those standards, I am looking for people who it's no effort for them to hold themselves to that same standard. Like I have a dress code. I tell people, dress for work like your ideal client. And I just brought on a new girl, and she's only 18. And she told me, when I get to that part of the conversation in hiring, I get nervous, like, oh my gosh, are they going to have a problem with the dress code? Because in the past, I've had people do have a problem with the dress code, and they weren't the right fit. And so I get nervous. And she tells me, oh, I dress like a 40-year-old woman anyway. This will be easy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this 18-year-old just told me she already dresses professional every day and she loves it and it's no effort for her. And that was kind of an eye-opening moment for me, of just being like, oh my gosh, there are people out there who are going to fit your vision and your vibe and your culture and your business model. And you just have to find them. You don't have to take someone who's not a fit and try to mold your business to them, or try to somehow negotiate or compromise and make it work. You can just say, this is who I am. This is what I have. And if you want to be a part of it, then I'm looking for you. And I think that was a huge eye-opening moment of just realizing, like, now that I'm secure in what I have in my business, Amen. People Amen. Will align themselves with that.
Amen. Amen. Because, being a little bit older than you, just a little bit, going through many of opening and closing, and believe me, I've failed many times, but I've always been very, very successful in understanding what does it take to build a good, successful business. And what it takes to build successful is to know who you are, to know what you want, to be true to yourself, and have a very good, profitable, successful business. So let's talk about that. And I just can't thank you enough for bringing all these points, because it doesn't matter how old you are, and it matters how obsessed are you with wanting to live the life that you want. So, talking about success, we're coming up to our last few minutes. In your opinion, what is success for you?
That's such a good question. I was thinking about this yesterday. I feel like success is always in the past, has always been a moving target. You have your goal, you get close to it, and then it moves again. It moves out further and further. And it has to. However, success, I actually heard a quote yesterday on a podcast. They said, success is learning to embrace your failures. And I was like, wow, that's powerful, especially thinking about all the failures that I have had in my career, and just realizing that you're always going to be failing on some level, but it's what you do with them and how you learn from them. And I think success for me now is honestly learning contentment. Not complacency, because that's different.
Right.
Just contentment of being like, here's where I am, and having gratitude and appreciation for how hard you've worked and what you now have. And so at any moment you could be successful. And even if you're in the midst of failure, you're still succeeding, because you're still transitioning and you're working through success. I guess is a journey. It's your whole life. And so for me, I think it's just being content and learning from your failures instead of dwelling on them or blaming other people for them, taking responsibility and growing from that.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. It's so profound what you just said. It's brilliant, because You know, it's at one point, if you can feel content, and like you said, and it's brilliant what you said, it's an evolution of learning how to becoming, how to become content. And that's work, you know. I mean, we're going to have people that are not happy with us. If we can get to the point where we know that we are so good and that we are enough and that we're doing enough and that there is a world out there that think like us and want to be with us, that's the world we want to be in, right? And so if we have compassion, I think that's the key things. And yes, Kathleen, big reminders, and we all need them, especially in times like this. And what I want to offer to everybody here is to get excited. Get excited, not about going back to what it was before, about the new norm. Jenna said to me yesterday, it's better than Christmas. Mm-hmm. And I believe in that because in this transition time that we just had, we got to write our future story, our future money story, our future content story, our future happiness of how we want to go to work, how many hours we want to work, what do we want to do with our free time. So Jenna, last thing, we met the very first thing because I read that you are a Profit First fan. And I said, oh my God, I have to interview you. Is this your favorite book?
Yes, it's the most life-changing book of 2019 for me. And if I had not read and implemented Profit First, I would not have been in the position that I was during my shutdown. In my shutdown, I was still able to pay my employee. I was still able to, I was fine financially. And I know that that's not every salon owner's story. And like, I have so much empathy because a year ago, if this had happened, I wouldn't have been in the same position that I am now. But implementing Profit First, I think accounting can be hard for hairstylists if they're not really left brain. I happen to like spreadsheets and all that stuff, but implementing Profit First is so easy that even if you're not really a financially minded or left brain thinker, you can still do it. And by implementing it, has completely changed the money story of my salon. I used to always be, paying next week's paychecks on this week's, revenue. And that's a scary place to be in because at any moment something could happen to you, just like we've seen. And having Profit First allowed me to have a cushion. And it has been completely life-changing. Best book I've read in 2019. In fact, all of Mike Michalowicz's books are excellent. And I will listen to his podcast too. He's a genius.
Yeah, it's so great. I don't know of course I told you that we're going to be writing the Profit First for salons. We've been licensed by him to do that. So I'm so excited. We took everything and implement that into the salon industry. So, and you're going to be one of our chapters. So I'm so excited about that. This has been one of my favorite live casts, guys. And it's been like this because I feel more comfortable in front of the camera. And I thank you, Jenna, for having such a wonderful smile and for being so authentic on the show that made me feel so much better. So for you guys over there, if you're going back to work, know that you can make it better than Christmas. If you're thinking about, Kathleen, if you're overwhelmed with the hours, you don't need to do all these hours. There's great opportunities to hire new ideal employee and ideal staff member. This is the time to look around and do audit there as well. And there are so many opportunities there. So I can't wait for you guys to join me this Friday. Friday, Jay Williams is going to be here. He is an amazing author. He's an amazing speaker. He's a great ways of how to have great conversations, tough conversations, thought-leading conversations, Join me this morning on Friday morning. And thank you, Jenna, so much for being here. I love you. And I love you guys all. Stay connected with us. Keep coming. Send me any questions you guys have. They're welcome. And we have so much great free information for you guys on our website for anything that you need. Love you. See you later. Thank you, ABS. Thank you, America's Beauty. Stay tuned for Friday because we're revealing the winners. So stay tuned for Friday as well at 1 p.m. See you later. Bye. Hold on, Jenna.